Okay guys, so we're gonna try these things. So in this video we're gonna log into our vCenters, and then we're gonna try snapshots. We're gonna work with templates. We are going to work with clones, and right after clones, where we need to deploy OVF. We'll check that out, OVF and OVA. After that, we can work with VM resource management, and then we can work on resource pools. So first of all, snapshot. So first of all, the very first thing about snapshot and all of these four features is that you must have a vCenter. So you must have a vCenter in your environment. This won't work directly. Templates, clones. This won't work directly with your vSphere client. You must have a vCenter to use these features. Now let's log into our vCenter. So this is my vCenter, and in this vCenter, once you are connected, within vCenter, so here my VMs are here. Now, last time we added a cluster. We didn't add a cluster? Okay. So cluster, so this is the other lab. Okay, so let's add a cluster first. Let me first make let me just move them out of the cluster, and then we'll make a cluster. Creating a cluster in this, actually creating a cluster comes in vMotion, which is the next chapter. But for now, I'm just thinking I'll move it out of the cluster so that we should all be on the same page. So in the meantime, you can log into vCenter. So let's start. So here I have two hosts, one vCenter. In each host I have some VMs here. So first of all, let's try a snapshot. Now snapshot, you can just go right click on this and go take a snapshot. Within the same screen, you have Snapshot Manager as well. So whatever you're doing, you can cancel this for now and start with whatever I'm doing. So here you can do take a snapshot, and you have a Snapshot Manager. Let's look at Snapshot Manager first. Once you open Snapshot Manager, since there are no snapshots, it won't show you any snapshot. So what we can do is we can right click on this and go to snapshot and take a snapshot. Now it can be taken online or offline. It works both ways. So here, most of the time when you take a snapshot, guys, even in real environment, it is important to use the same name with, you can say SP1, a snapshot 1, or you can write the full word. It is snapshot. Now because the files that it is saved, it will be saved with this name, and it will show you what snapshot it is. So, and then whenever you do any task, then keep an eye on the recent task so that you can see that it is completed successfully or it has failed. Now, once the snapshot is created, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch on the second VM, another VM on another ESXi host. So if you have 2 or 3, you can just start other ESXi hosts. First snapshot we took for a shutdown machine. Now let's take a snapshot for a running machine. Now within a running machine, I can just go again to the same and just name it accordingly. So again, this is FW2, SP1, this is snapshot 1. So, and again, keep an eye on recent task. But it's not working. So it is taking a snapshot. Now once it takes the snapshot, guys, now the other machine is taking the snapshot. It is 9% now. Now the shutdown machine, let's see the snapshot files that it has created. So the way we can find the snapshot file, we need to go to the storage where the VM is. Now, how do you know which storage it is on? You can select the VM and then you can go to summary, and right here in storage, my VM is in storage data store 1. In your case, wherever the VM is, it should show you the storage. Now, you can right click on that storage and say browse database. When you say browse database, and then right here you would see the VM and double click on that VM, and here it should show you the snapshot file. So here I can see there is a snapshot file which is VMSN. It is 27 kilobytes. So this file is here. And then now when I go to the second VM, which is still taking a snapshot because it's an online VM, it is taking a snapshot. Now let's take another snapshot for the first VM. So you would right click on this again and go to snapshot, and you would say take another snapshot. So let's name it take another snapshot. So this is SP2 or SS2. So now you took two snapshots in a period of, let's say, 1 minute or 2 minutes. And in order to see those snapshots, what we can do is we can right click on that VM and go to snapshot and go to Snapshot Manager. Now in Snapshot Manager, it shows me two different snapshots. There is original machine, which is running machine. Then here you are at the moment, and then you can revert back to this time, or you can revert back to this. Or if snapshot, guys, when you start creating snapshot will also eat up this space. So sometimes you need to remove the older snapshots, and once you need to remove the older snapshot, all you need to do is select a snapshot and just delete it. So you can delete a snapshot. Or if you want to jump back to another snapshot, you can say just go to. So in go to, you can jump back to the snapshot. Or what you can also do, same like in workstation, VMware workstation, you can revert to the current snapshot. Whatever is the current snapshot, it would return back, which is the most recent snapshot. So it can go there as well. So here in this case, if it is an online VM, it will take longer to take a snapshot, and if it's a VM uh, with using more storage, or it's a heavy VM, it will take even longer, depending on that how much resources it is using. Now, once the snapshot is taken, let's see that RF. How do I go into the storage? How do I know where is the storage of this VM? Go to summary, and it's right here, and then you can right click and browse storage, and then go to this VM. So the VM that I'm looking at is FW2. So here you can match the name, and here you can see the snapshot that it is taking, which is equal to the disk swap disk. It is a complete snapshot of the memory of the VM. Whatever is in the memory at this point, that complete snapshot. So I wanted to show you this difference between offline and online. Offline was a very small snapshot, which was in offline, but online it takes the complete swap file snapshot. So it's like whatever the VM is doing in the memory, that memory is completely copied as a snapshot, and it's using the same disk. So disk is there. Now this snapshot is nothing without this disk. So this is a big difference between a clone and a snapshot. Snapshot is a copy of the state of VM, whereas clone is a complete copy. Yes. So online meaning just start the VM, and then go to snapshot. Same thing. Take a snapshot. This is online. It's grayed out because it's still taking the previous snapshot. Once that process is complete, then you can take another. This is why I jumped to another VM to take the snapshot, because once it is taking one snapshot, it won't take the other snapshot. It's a very small file. Exactly, because it is not on, it's not doing anything in the memory. It just takes a snapshot of that VM. Yes, not the RAM. Actually, it takes a snapshot of that VM in time. So for now, what it did for the offline VM, it just recorded that it's offline. If you ever go back to the snapshot of offline, if your machine is on, it will be offline. It will just shut it down. So offline snapshot is not really a snapshot. It's just in a snap. But it can work in those cases where if you experienced an error message now and you move back to the offline snapshot, then it can move back to a good state. So this is online snapshot. Now the second thing that we wanted to see was a template. Now in template, we must remember that we are making a template to create a master VM or create a master image from which you can deploy. So let's say we switch on this VM and this VM is on and it has all of the updates and everything. Now I want to make a template of this VM. All you need to do, right click on this and then you can go to templates and here you have two options, clone to template or convert to template. Now since the VM is on, it cannot be converted to a template. Only a shutdown VM can be converted to a template. This is why the other option is grayed out. Since this VM is on, the only thing you can do is to clone this VM to a template. So this is what we're going to do, clone this VM to a template. Now it's saying, what is the template name? Let's say it is FW2 temp1. Yes, it is still in progress. That's why, or in the meantime, you can work on another VM. So just have another VM and you can create a template. So yes, yes, you can go to back to home. Within home, you have VMs and templates, and basically it is stored in the same storage where you are. Now here it shows me which place you want to keep the template. I can keep it on 60 or I can keep it on 50. So on 60 or 50, on 60 and 50, guys, always remember, just read this compatibility status. Compatibility status is saying its validation succeeded. Sometimes there are errors, sometimes warning, you need to go fix them. So here if it is succeeded, then here it's saying that where do you want to save? Sorry? You have a warning, and what is the warning? Could be the storage or resources. It's fine. It's fine. It's just saying that you might have multiple network adapters on the ESXi host. So here I'm going to save it in a backup storage. So you can select a storage in this. Which storage do you want to keep the template? So in a backup storage, or I can store it in the same storage. It doesn't matter. Wherever you have more storage, and now it is creating a template, and our area where we need to look at is recent tasks. And guys, it is not different in web client as well. Same concepts in web client. So if I log into my web client, so if insufficient disk space, it's very clear that you need to have more disk space, or maybe you can remove non-use VM and then use, or maybe you can create more space in storage and add more disk. So while this is connecting, now template. Once the template is created, so it says that clone virtual machine was completed successfully, but now templates, you cannot find them here. Templates are not here. Actually, they are in home. And within home, you need to go to VMs and templates. And within VMs and templates, you can find under the same data center, there is this template, which is CANF FW2 temp1. Now from this, if you ever need to update this template, then what we can do, convert it to a virtual machine, update it, and then create it, convert it back to a template, or you can deploy VMs from this template. And within here, it was where we can use customization script. Now, customization script is used when you need to deploy a number of different VMs at the same time. Let's create a new VM out of this. So let's create a VM called FW10. We are creating a VM called FW10, and then next, this VM will be stored on 50. And then here, I'm going to use a storage that has more space. So I have more space on DS2. So I'm going to create it on DS2. And then here, it's saying that once you're creating a new VM from a template, now, what is the main advantage of a template? That you don't have to install OS, you don't have to install updates, you don't have to, it's all ready. So here you can say power it on, but at this point, either you have a customization script so that you can use it. If there is not, first time you have to create a customization script. Now within that customization script, it's about that how unique you want to make these templates. For example, this is for Canvas admin. So it is registered to CanApp's admin and the organization name. Whatever your organization name, that goes into these names here. This is just the first screen that comes when you install the operating system. And next here, what would be the name that you'll be looking for this VMs when you use these? So are they using some standard terms? For example, they all will be starting with CanApps. They all will be having serve, and then what you want to do, add a numeric value to ensure uniqueness. Now, guys, in real environments, sometimes you cannot like install VMs based on this. You need to have different customization templates for different departments. For example, because you have different naming convention for Exchange servers, different naming convention for SQL servers. So for that, because the only thing you can add here is numbers. Otherwise, if your company standard is that it has to have a role, for example, it is an Exchange server, then you need to add Exchange. Or if it is a Citrix server, then you need to add CTX and all that. So for those, you need to have different templates for those. Now here, let's say it is a CTX, and I'm going to append this with a name here. So now, and if you need to go more complex, you can use this wizard to deploy them. Now this is saying that when entering the name next time in this wizard, every time ask run a wizard, and then it will every time when this customization wizard runs, it would run that template. Okay, what names do you need? What numbers do you need? So it will have. But if you go with one standard saying no, just use always this name and add a number, you can go with this as well. So now, once this name is decided here, the product key or the license number goes. Yes, top one, and then license key. Now, in all these bigger companies, guys, they have one volume key that works for all. So you can use that volume key here, and then type of the licenses, whatever type of licenses they have in the environment. It could be per seat, it could be per server licenses. And then next here, what will be the admin password? Most of the time, this is your standard administration password. So in our case, we'll be using password 1 with capital P, and then automatically log on as administrator. Once the machine is ready, it will automatically log on. We're not selecting this option, just choosing the password. And next, time zone. So time zone in our case, it's -5. And then next, if you have any extra commands to be run, for example, startup scripts, for example, there are antivirus checks or anything, disclaimer messages, you can run those commands here. Or if not, you don't need, it's not necessary. And then what is your IP settings? So in most of the environment, when you do mass deployment, it should automatically get it from DHCP. But if in case there is no DHCP, then you can do a custom setting as well. So custom setting, you need to use. So in custom setting, it would show you. Okay, so if you're not using DHCP, then what are your settings? So then you have to provide IP range. But we're in this case, we're just gonna go with DHCP because this is how it is in the real environment. Next thing, operating system, should it be joined with a group or it would remain a work group? Should it be a domain join? Then if domain join, then you need to provide domain admin credentials here. Next one, here operating system generate a new SID. Yes, it should have a new SID. and next here, and now you're saving that customization script. So we can say this is a script customization script 1. So this is customization script 1 done. Once this is done, it is all done. Now from this template, keep an eye on this. It's cloning that VM, and here it's just saying since we selected a customization script, we tried this tried to do some changes to the operating system. Since there is no operating system, that's why it's failing. So this won't work. It's just saying that guest operating system does not support these different settings here. But here from a template, you can deploy many machines at the same time. Now, yes, in a web client, oh yes. So in a web client, if you need to create a template, same thing. You would go to a host and cluster, and within host and cluster, you can go to select any VM first. First of all, I do have a template. So always remember, since I'm connecting to the same vCenter, it should have that template that I created. So if I go back to home and go to VMs and templates, and right here, you should be able to find that template. Or you can create your own template, and that template exists right here. And from that template, all you need to do, same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Deploy a VM. Okay, so let's create a template. So create a new machine. Synapse, it is FW11. It is for the same data center. It is for, let's say, second host. Next. And right here, it goes to the data store. And from here, what I can do, I can now select it using existing customization template. Or you can customize the operating system, or you can customize the hardware as well. So now this option is not available in legacy client, and at the same time it is experimental. Now, which means VM's hardware. If you need to add during this more network cards, more hard disk, and all that, so you can make those changes as well. Here you're just customizing the operating system, and next, and right here, this is the customization script that we just made. You can attach that customization script, or you can create your own as customization script. As soon as you create another customization script, it would ask you for the name of the customization script, and it would ask you all the same questions again. So those licensing, computer name, and all that again. If not, you can also go without customization script as well. So you don't need a customization script. You just go without customization script. It would just create a new VM without a customization script. And here in the recent task, it's creating it. And guys, in this case, it was successful. Let's see. No, it's not successful because again, it's. So let's see the error customization of guest. Oh yes, again the same error message. It would need an operating system on this. Now, so this is snapshot, template, and clone. And how do you do a OVA or OVF? First of all, 3 steps were there. Download the OVA from internet. Secondly, you would copy it to the vCenter or the location where you can deploy it. And then the third one, all you need to do, deploy it. So from here, so in legacy clients, it's very simple. In legacy client, you just go here and deploy OVF template. Whereas in here, or you can go to a data center. So here change to inventory and inventory host and cluster. And you can right click on here. I think there is no deployment option here. Actually here, no deployment option. So the only deployment template is here. Let's go to a web client. And in web client, we can go to home. We can go to host and cluster. And from here, the deploy OVF option is right here within the data center. So these are few little changes that they made. There is no file menu in this, but you can deploy OVF template right from here. And then we deployed one OVF template already, which is a vCenter appliance. As soon as you deploy it, it is converted into a VM. It is converted into a VM. Now, now let's go back to our legacy client, guys, and check our resources. So remember this discussion where we went through resources. So if you need to do a resource management, what do you have to do first? First, list all VMs. Secondly, separate out critical from non-critical. Once that is all done, and you decided that exchange needs to go with 4 reservation, limit this and high, and then let's say you go with one by one VM. So each VM, all you need to do, right click on that VM and go to properties. So you go to edit settings actually. So this is edit settings, and within edit settings, all you need to do, go to resources, and within resources it says resource allocation. So here you have CPU, you have memory. So first of all, CPU, it can be done through a web client too. You don't have a legacy client? Okay. It can be done. So right click on that VM, go to edit settings and go to resources. So in this web client, in this legacy client, just right click on that VM, go to edit settings, and within edit settings you can go to, so right here I think it is, yes. So instead of resources there, you can just go to that resource itself. So you can go to memory directly, expand it, and right under that you will have reservation, you will have limits and share. So it's a little different in web client, and also for the same thing under CPU, you can find reservation, limits, and share right under the resource. So in both cases, guys, in both cases, now you can say reservation. Let's say if I go to this VM, and this is my Exchange VM. So here you can say that CPU, how much CPU would you need? So CPU is, you can say CPU is 2 megahertz on this. And then as soon as you assign 2 megahertz here, and then here it says maximum it can go with this, or minimum it can go with this, or limits are these. So guys, most of the time we don't go with CPU reservations like this on VM, about especially about CPUs. Especially about CPUs, you don't divide megahertz and gigahertz. It will be done in very restricted situation. Most of the time about CPU, you will be asked to either add more CPUs or add more sockets. So that's on CPU side. Socket is the physical component on which CPU is attached. So let me record this and I'll come back to this question. Now, here is the port on which the CPU is. So on these laptops, guys, in these there is only one socket of CPU, but it has 4 divisions. It has 4 divisions, one CPU socket and four logical CPUs inside. So here, if you go to memory, in memory you can assign reservations. So in memory it says that RAM already assigned, total RAM in this host is 4 GB, whereas in this reservation you can say that I want to provide 1024, 1 GB for this. So 101 MB, actually 1024 MB is 1 GB, and then limit is unlimited, or you can reserve that as well. You can reserve that as well, saying that it can be 2 gigs. So this is 2048. 2048 won't go because the total amount of maximum memory that you can allocate is 1350 based on whatever it has at the moment. That's why you cannot go double on this. You have to either go with 1350 based on the current resources on this. So reservation, now with reservation, it is very important to understand that if you assign reservation, and if in case this memory is not available, this VM is not starting. So you have to make sure, and sometimes what happens is you have 4 VMs with reservations and all of them were working, and host does not have memory. And for maybe update purposes, you have to restart that one VM that needed 4 GB. As soon as it is restarted, that remaining memory will be divided into other VMs, and now this VM that was working, it won't start. Why? Because other VMs that were started, they were hungry of resources, they would take resources. So guys, these reservation on individual VMs can be very tedious in troubleshooting in resource management. So the best thing that we can do is either scale out or scale up. But if not, then you can go with this reservation options as well. Now let's create a resource pool on this. So resource management. Let's look at the legacy client. In legacy client, it is same thing. It is here you have shares, and shares can be low, normal, high, custom. And if you do with custom, you can see you can assign numbers. This is what we talked about. So custom, and now if I go to high, it automatically changes it to 2000. So high means 2000. And then and normal means 1000 and low means 500. So same thing in legacy disk, and same thing in it should be same type of shares on web client. Now here now here same thing goes for memory. And then guys, here one thing that you don't see is expandable reservation. Expandable reservation doesn't exist on individual VMs. So here you don't see, so just remember it does not have a checkbox for expandable reservation. Now let's create a resource pool on this. Guys, resource pool can be created on each host, but if you have a cluster, it can be created on a cluster. But for now, we're just created on each host. So this is my host, and let's think on this host, I need to create these two resource pools, Exchange Server and Citrix VM. So on this, you would create a new resource pool. You would create a new resource pool, and resource pool when you create, and same goes for if you create right click on host, then you can create a new resource pool. And then so let's check this out. On this, go to all VM actions and then go to where is it? Okay, you have it. Okay, I'm gonna check why is it not here. So guys, here let's create a resource pool called Exchange Servers. Exchange Servers. Create a resource pool called Exchange Servers, and within Exchange Servers, we can say this is of high. They have high shares, and the reservation we can say it cannot go more than what the machine has. So let's say we'll assign some reserved memory. This is CPU actually. So let's 50 megahertz and expandable reservation. So expandable reservation, if you don't select, then expanded, it won't be given expandable reservation. Let's go for memory. Memory is also high. And here we can say memory is given 400 MB and expandable reservation. And now it is created. But now, how do you move VMs inside? All you need to do is drag the VM inside a resource pool. So you can, and likewise, I can create a resource pool based on departments as well. So right click on the other host, and within the other host, let's create a resource pool called IT department. And IT department, you can make some changes. Reservation for memory, reservation for, let's say, I'm going to take 1 GB memory for this, and with expandable reservation, and select next in both cases. So resource pool looks like this. Now resource pools, same thing. Resource pools are named resources. They are used to manage resources for multiple VMs or similar VMs. Now Guys, just like resource pool, there is one more thing that is known as VApp. So VApp. Now, yes. Oh, if you want to, yes, drag anything inside, all you need to do, just drag inside. So here in recent progress, it would show you that it has now these VMs. You can, just like this, if you have 40 VMs, you can select all Exchange servers to in this resource pool. And then it will just try utilizing that. So it's like host inside a host. So it's just like host inside a host. Uh, Now, VApp, guys, the only VApp, so the only purpose of a VApp is when you need to do a collective action on a similar VMs, then we create a VApp. For example, at any point in time, I need to restart all Exchange VMs or reboot all Exchange VMs, or I need to take a snapshot of all VMs, I can create one VApp. Now, this VApp concept might be confusing when people are working with VApp in outside, because VApps are virtual apps. It means different for different applications. But in ESXi host, the only purpose of a VApp, let's say I create a VApp for let's say Citrix servers. And then once you create a VApp, and how do you create a VApp? Just right click on a host. Same thing. In your case, all vCenter actions. And just go here. And here you can also allocate resources for a VApp, just like a resource pool. So here we're going to leave it normal and just create a VApp. Now, once you created a VApp and you right click on that VApp, you can do collective action on this VApp. For example, let's move one of the VMs inside, actually two VMs inside. Once you move two VMs inside, if you need to clone them all, you can clone them. You can set up alarms on them. You can set up alarms there. You can remove them. So it's like just one action for all VMs. Otherwise, you need to do this separately. Now, here, if you right click on a resource pool, you don't have those options. Resource pool is only for managing resources, whereas we have to do collective action on. So here, power them on. All of them power them off. All of them suspend them. All of them shut down. All of them clone. So it's just a group of VMs where you need to do same action on all of them. That's the only purpose of VM. Mm-hmm. Yes, they are part of other resources. Yes, they can be. They can. You can put this inside a resource pool. You can put this inside a. Yes, even we app inside a resource pool. So just actions on all VMs. Power them on, especially when you're updating them. Especially when you are. That's the only purpose of VM. No limits. No limits. It's just grouping them. So resource pool is grouping them for only special purpose, and that special purpose is resource management. Whereas VF is grouping them so that all different tasks. So let's say I want to power them on. So both of them, now it is starting both VMs at the same time. So powering on VMs, so it is powering them on. And this comes under VM management and resource management. Guys, make sure, so tomorrow we'll be starting vMotion. Make sure that you Excellent. Any questions? Any concerns? I mean,